at flydubai value our most important asset, and we know it is our people. And we are super strong, and we are super diverse, and we really represent the spirit of Dubai. And that is because, I mean, if you look at this, and this is actually a picture of an actual wall that we have in our campus. And it doesn't represent our destinations, it actually represents the nationalities we have in our office. So we are 126 nationalities and counting. And that itself requires you to have multiple and diverse approaches when it comes to managing talent, because you are dealing with 126 different cultures. And that is not something small. That is a huge asset, and that is an area of strength, but it is a very complex area. And we spend a lot of time thinking, how can we continuously improve our people, and how can we continuously provide them with tools and necessities to help them go forward? Because if not for the efforts of our people, we will not be where we are here today. I mean, we surpassed COVID with flying colors. I mean, everybody has seen in the news our revenue and what we have generated after the pandemic, and our numbers are actually much stronger than before the pandemic. And that all comes down to the strength we have in our people. So, at flydubai, we're always committed to removing barriers of travel and making air travel more convenient and more affordable. And so, in a nutshell, our actual business model is to change people traveling habits. So to help them travel in ways they haven't thought of traveling before. But at flydubai, we are set to change the way we manage performance, or we measure performance. And not just for staff in office jobs, but we are attempting to do it for the whole company, from office staff up until our flight crew. And when we come to that topic, we have to appreciate the huge complexity and nature of the difference of these two aspects of an aviation industry. Whenever you approach an aviation industry, you have to understand that almost 60% of that manpower, or sometimes 70%, lies within its flight crew, pilots, first officers, cabin crew, and so on. How do we approach them? How do we manage to create a system that can help them and help us manage them in a convenient and easy way that doesn't disrupt their time? Now, that is by itself a different environment than when you come to approach office staff. And then you can easily apply a typical method of performance management where you enter a goal, you discuss it with your manager, it is approved, you come towards the end of the year and you review it. So a typical performance management process is applicable to office staff, but it is not applicable to flight crew, because they don't perform on an annual basis, they perform on a flight basis, flight by flight. And they have multiple systems telling us exactly what they're doing, capturing all the flight data and the efforts and what pilots are doing continuously. So, we as HR want to create a system that can ingest all these complexities, break them down, and turn them into simplified methods to be used by our staff. The airline industry demands a very, very unique approach, and that is because of that diversity in the way we work. We have areas that operate similar to banks. We have areas that operate like contact centers. We have engineering departments. We have HR. We have corporate finance, accounting. Whatever it is, we have it at flydubai. So we need to understand that for every area, there has to be a different framework. You cannot possibly do everyone in the same way. That means you have one vision, and you are only looking at everybody in the same way. But that is incorrect. You have to understand that every department functions and applies their work, and every manager even has a different style. So we need to be able to adapt that into a system, not force them to change how they actually work and what they do. So we need to be able to drive their own nature into a system rather than the other way around. So what we usually see in organizations is that HR coming and trying to enforce a performance management method, and it is unified for everyone. And it drives people nuts, because not everyone is capable of writing KPIs. Not everyone is capable of writing MBOs. Not everyone is capable of writing OKRs. It becomes SMART goals. And I remember we had a major issue with people not writing their goals because they say, oh, we can't write smart goals. How do I make it smart and achievable and this and that? I'm like, we're thinking too much. You are thinking too much. What you need to actually have is an agreement between you and your line manager on deliverables, and that is it. You can call it KPI, you can call it a key result, you can call it an objective, you can call it a goal, you can call it this is what I'm here to do. It's all the same thing. But what we need to do is capture that data in the natural way it is and not try to change everything for them. We actually have to listen to them and let them use the system how and whichever way they would like to. And we also need to understand that some areas we cannot interrupt their time. So we have engineers, we have contact center agents, you have agents on the front line, you have airport services staff, ground handling, NCC, whatever it is. We cannot afford to tell them, look, I need you to sit down, take 5 minutes, write your objectives, send them to your manager, let them review it, let them see it, and then that becomes a time-wasting effort, and that becomes the first reason why everybody moves away from the system and only uses it towards the end of the year to close the performance management cycle and tick the box and say, hey, we've done it. But nobody actually is using the tool because it is not right for them. So we need to populate their objectives and their goals in the system and provide it for them upon opening the system so they can have everything set for them, what they need to do without them having to waste a single minute on entering data on the system, where we actually have systems that generate reports on their outputs and everything they have performed, and that links directly with the performance document and feeds in the achievements that they are progressing towards. So we need to understand that we need to have six systems within one system. The system itself needs to be technically capable, and it should be able to integrate with multiple systems, because in aviation, everything is recorded. Everything you do is recorded. And because everything is recorded, then it becomes easy. What you need to do is find that actual line in that generated report that means something to performance, and then link it. It's not rocket science, but it just requires a heavy amount of research and to be surrounded with the right people, and that's the only way you can do it. So I heavily rely on the experts or the departments I work with. I never try to show them that, well, we understand more than you, so we should tell you how you should put down your performance, and that is wrong. That is the complete wrong approach for any department. As HR, you should always approach them by saying, we have a tool that we want to mold for you, so how do you want to use it? And this is how we should approach our departments. So it needs to be configurable to the various aviation regulations. And again, when I say integrating with systems and capturing data, now, I don't want to say a lot because this is, we're still in production, and you know, we have to be careful what we say. We don't want to give any spoilers. But let's imagine how we want to capture data for a pilot. What happens? So these pilots, when performing, everything they do is captured by flight data. It comes back to several departments for fuel efficiency, departments for safety and such. And these departments have not created their own parameters and regulations for these pilots to perform. In fact, these regulations are all inherited from IATA and from GCAS or global aviation regulations. They tell you what a pilot needs to do, so you don't need to write objectives. You already know how much they should perform, how much they should not perform, what is safe flying, what is not safe flying, and then all you need to do is incorporate that into a performance document. And again, we cannot ask a pilot to sit and let's review and give feedback because they're flying. And if we take that time off and ask them to spend it on the system, it means we need to hire more pilots to fill in the flights and manage our flight operations. So when it comes to that, we need to understand that we must feed the information and come to the end of the year and see if these pilots have met the requirements that they should already meet on an annual basis. And we tie with it some of our internal brand values and such and such and such. And we need a system that can allow dynamic changes. So if something changes instantly, we can apply that. If a new rule is set, if political unrest happens and we cannot fly there, we cannot fly over this airspace, this has to be applied into a system where we can directly feed that into the performance documents of our staff. And more importantly is that it needs to be, it needs to provide a great user experience, user-friendly, because that's the only way you can actually get buy-in and get people to adopt the system. Now, in addition to these 4 very important points, we have searched the market, we have done our thorough research, and yes, a lot of people can provide this, but I think what led us to PeopleStrong was the fact that they have a very strong track record, and more importantly, they have subject matter experts. So we needed people that could sit with us, understand our vision, take it, sugarcoat it, put a cherry on top, and give it back to us. And this is what they do. So we are embarking on a journey today of continuous excellence and innovation. Our aim is to showcase our collaborated product, and more importantly, the same way our business model is to change people's traveling habits, we also aim to change the approach to performance management across the aviation industry. And it is no secret that when you live in this great city of Dubai, whether you are from Dubai or not from Dubai, whether you're an Emirati or not an Emirati, it doesn't make a difference. When you are in this city, you always want to make a change. You always want to strive for what is better, go for excellence. So, and that is because Dubai is where examples are set and benchmarks are created. And we want to follow the example of our leaders to continuously evolve, improve, and stand out. And we found that PeopleStrong is a partner that shares the same vision and hunger to change the world for better. Thank you, everyone.
You've embarked on something that's most probably going to change, or fingers crossed, should be able to change the way performance is measured in an industry, right? Which has not been done by anybody else before. But tell me, why is that transformational? How is it that performance management is going to transform your business? I mean, what is it going to really do?
All right, so that is actually a very easy question. Yeah? So, well, when you actually have the right tool and you can apply the correct method of performance and the correct approach for a diverse department and a diverse nature you have within multiple different departments, if you are able to achieve that and allow them to work the same way they are, then you will have safer flight operations, you will have reduction in your costs, you will be more effective, you will be efficient, you will be agile, and it will be very easy for you to make instant changes. It will be very easy for you to address these gaps or understand how you perform in order for you to improve what you are doing and raise your targets, because now you can read everything by metrics or by percentages or by progress. So you have a clear picture and vision of what everybody has done towards common or shared goals. And once you can have that amazing masterpiece in front of you, it becomes very easy to be number one.
For organizations that are out there, what's the starting point? I mean, you've embarked on something that is clearly going to be path-breaking across the globe. Where do you start? Do you need to get executive buy-in first, or do you sort of seed the idea, then you sort of move up the value chain? How do you go about doing this?
Actually, what we had to do is go everywhere. We went to the very top and to the front line, mid-level management, and we started talking to everyone to understand what they need. And because we need the system to be good for all levels of our staff and not just the seniors, so they can drill down and see what everybody's doing. No, we also provide that for our seniors, but we want to also provide roadmaps and guidelines for all our staff to understand what they should achieve and how they should achieve it, and if they achieve this, what do they get at the end of the day as well.
Oh, phenomenal. No, thank you very much. Thank you all for being a patient listeners, and hopefully this has given you a bit more of a perspective of how transformation can actually be done using HR as tools. And this is just one of those things, right? This is just one of the elements that exist. There can be many more like this. But thank you all for being
thank you.
Being great audience. Thank you. Thank you, Munawur.